Hello guys and welcome back into Tiny Bunny with Nicole.
Hey guys.
We went through chapter 1. We really enjoyed it, so we're looking forward to chapter 2. We're a little delayed on getting this out because lives are busy, you know?
Yep,
What can you do? So let's go ahead and see what this is all about. Bop.
A little bit.
I had to click. I was like, hello. New school, new teachers, and most importantly, new classmates who I always have trouble connecting with. Like most other kids with glasses, probably. I forced myself to get out of my warm bed. Dad would usually drive me to my school, but this morning the bedroom of my parents was silent. Did they sleep in? Maybe it was a good thing. I didn't want to get the daddy's boy reputation from day one. My parents were probably still tucked in, dreaming about the good old days when everything was so simple and easy. Sweet dreams, even if far removed from reality. I silently sneaked out to the first floor so I wouldn't wake up anybody, especially the peacefully sleeping Olya. I did my best to step on the middle of every floorboard. I used to play like this even in our old apartment. If my soles touched the space between floorboards, it counted as stepping into lava. The clock was spurring me on with its hands. I need to hurry. Faster. Faster! I was too fast, so I needed to circle the hallway once again. Boiling lava was bursting out of the cracks between the floorboards. I needed to watch my step, to survive at any cost. Hippity-hop like a frog, jumping on molehills like a fearful bunny in a grove full of wolves. I made a sandwich in the kitchen, shoved it down my throat, and drank it down with cold tea. My appetite was as good as of someone being led up the scaffold toward the guillotine. Pretty fucked up, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I lowered my gaze and saw that one of my feet was standing on two floorboards at the same time. Burnt to a crisp, huh? I moved my foot. Disgusting little snakes writhed in my belly. The fear of getting hit and being called nasty names. The clock clicked. I need to go. It was dark outside, fitting for an early winter morning. The darkness never fully left the houses around here. I took my time tying my shoes, buttoning up the puffy down jacket, trying to delay my unpleasant exit into the semi-dark, into the unnerving unknown. I rubbed my glasses for good luck, though I couldn't remember a single time these thick pieces of glass brought me any good fortune. The sky was aching to a giant bruise. On the east side of it, a black cloud was swelling up. It licked up the stars from the sky and extinguished the rising sun. Darkness was plastered all over the treetops. The cautious cries of birds got tangled up in the thicket. I locked the front door with a long key that I wore around my neck. My parents made me wear this noose, afraid that I, being a total klutz that I am, could lose the key otherwise. The wind whizzed on the other side of the gate and invited me into my new life towards dubious adventure, and tagged along like an old buddy pushing me in the back. Wide shadows that pines throughout covered a third of the clearing. Upon reaching the edge of the forest, I hid my nose in the coat's collar. I was squeezing through the thin firebrake, my hair ruffled up and my back hunched over. Tall trees stood on both sides of the tiny trail. The snowy blanket rustled under my feet, and the canopy of the intertwined branches above my head cut me from the already sparse starlight. The night had no plans of moving away from the forest. In the darkness, trees reminded me of shaggy old women that smelled of burial earth. This kid's fucked. Their trunks turned into cracked, wrinkled faces with holes in the middle as their mouths. If I lost focus even for a moment, mold-covered witches would drag me into the forest's depths. Then my parents would be walking around these parts screaming my name. But the dead can't answer the living. Or can they? A sense of panic was growing in my chest. I was fine with Dad carrying me into the school in his hands by now, if it saved me from watching the darkness rise up in the ravines like black dough. It felt like someone jumped into the bushes behind me, so I turned around. As soon as I started walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me. The forest took a deep breath with his giant lungs. The windfall cracked. The wind and the birds were left behind in the field. Now I could only hear the forest creak. I walked, listening closely, and the unseen presence grew stronger. as if someone was following me, trying to match the pace of my footsteps. I turned my head so fast it made my neck crunch. A tiny trail behind me disappeared into the darkness. Tree branches overlapped, forming a natural tunnel. Who's there? The question escaped my lips and dissolved into the unending creaking sound of the wooden idols, the pines around me. Why did I think going through the forest alone was a good idea? I'm either going mad, or someone had intentionally lured me away from home. Distant lights granted me a smidgen of hope. Country road. I ran there as fast as I could, as if afraid that the trail will shrink. Clawed hands will grip me by the shoulders, turn me around, and make me look at the faces of hungry forest denizens. In the end, nobody stopped me. I almost flew to the decrepit wooden bridge, disbelieving my luck. The bridge's supports, bathed in the spring, tarry and ice cold. I put my hands on my knees and looked up at the forest, then snorted, trying to calm my breathing. The thicket was pretending to be asleep. It looked peaceful, lifeless. The remaining part of my commute lied through a snow-laden road, illuminated by sparse lamplights. I chased away bad thoughts and ran as fast as I could, from one circle of light to another, seeking protection from electric lamps. Just like in that game, where you need to be the first to proclaim, "I'm protected!" It's just in this case that protection was flimsy at best, with darkness writhing outside its bounds. Then I noticed something remarkably eerie. In a place where the light from an inclined lamp couldn't reach, a hairy, crooked shadow came alive with a guttural roar. It almost felt like its features deterred light. Its unnatural pose instilled fear. My eyes almost popped out of my sockets as I just stood there, blinking, trying to chase away that illusion. But the shadow didn't disappear and even got closer. My insides were gripped by horror. I stepped back and almost fell into a snow pile. The black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice.
Чего крадешься? Душу мою украсть хочешь?
Sneaking around, huh? Trying to steal my soul? That sounded like a female.
It did. Words got stuck in my throat. Who could be talking in such a silky voice here, between the forest and the dormant village?
Чего молчишь, несмышленыш?
Will you say something, dummy?
Язык вырвали?
A cat got your tongue?
Слушай, а я тебе еще и нос откушу.
Oh, this bitch. Alright, I'll bite off your nose then.
Будешь знать, как совать его в чужие дела.
That'll teach you not to poke it in places it doesn't belong.
A girl stood before me, judging from the voice and the silhouette. But I couldn't even reprimand myself for getting scared by a girl, before noticing a gaping mouth under her hood with something dangerously shiny inside. I was stunned. From the cavity of her hood, a frighteningly real fox face was staring straight at me. It's just her jaws weren't moving and her eyes weren't blinking. A mask. It's just a girl with a fox mask on. At least I wanted to think that. From a surprise like that, a nervous smile involuntarily crept onto my face. I was just...
Просто в школу иду, а тут ты.
Going to school and then you...
Что я?
What about me?
Никогда не видел, как лиса собаку кормит.
Never seen a fox feed a dog?
And indeed, there was a small dog circling the girl's legs. One of the strays that were chasing me yesterday, probably.
Извини, я не хотел.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. After hearing my voice, the dog whimpered, lowered its ears, sniffed me out, and then started wagging its tail. I guess I still smelled of bologna that I ate for breakfast. I was shifting my gaze back and forth from dog to the girl. She didn't seem scary anymore, just weird.
Значит, не хотел. Ну-ну.
So you didn't mean to, huh?
Как тебя зовут?
What's your name?
Меня Антон.
I'm Anton.
А тебя?
And you?
А меня нет.
And I'm not.
She's weird. Definitely has a couple loose screws. But she has a nice voice. My astonishment has turned into a mix of happiness and relief. This girl I didn't know was definitely human, if a bit eccentric. I was also a bit angry at myself. The foxy girl was walking through the darkness without problem, and I shuddered from every little sound. I couldn't just walk away, but this girl had piqued my interest. The next time a police officer asks me about my friends at a new place, I'll tell him that I befriended a talking fox. Yeah, that'll help you.
Yeah.
Здесь живешь?
Do you live around here?
В поселке?
In the village? The fox giggled and purred. She spun around so hard that the hem of her coat lifted up.
Нет, глупый.
No, dummy.
Лисы не живут в поселках.
Foxes don't live in villages.
Хочешь сказать, ты живешь в лесу?
So you live in the forest then?
Из какой норы ты вылез?
Have you been living under a rock?
Конечно. Лисам среди людей не выжить.
It's obvious that foxes can't survive anywhere near humans,
Пока они лисы.
as long as they're foxes.
Her jokes were also weird. Just like her carnival mask, papier-mâché with fur glued onto it. A dog reminded us of its existence with a loud bark. I unfastened my backpack, thank God, and Dad would sometimes throw food in there without my knowledge. Cookies, apples, or even my favorite crab sticks. He called it a gift from the bunny. The stray strolled towards me with mincing footsteps with a pleading look in its eyes. The fox did definitely treat it to something, but it was probably still hungry.
Зачем ты так вырядилась с утра пораньше?
Why are you dressed like this so early in the morning?
На утренник идешь?
Going to a costume party? The girl shrugged, throwing silvery snowflakes off her nose, and her human form along with it, turning into a genuine beast. A real fox, agile, cunning, dangerous. A moment of hesitation and you'll be ripped to shreds. She'll tear you up and gulp you down without breaking a sweat. I couldn't help but just stand there as a stump. Until I heard her calm, melodic laughter hidden beneath the beastly mask.
Видел бы ты свою маску, сладенький.
I wish you could have seen your own mess, sweetie.
Sweet, did she say sweetie? I got embarrassed, went right up to my hair roots. We'd seen a fox in a zoo once when we went there with Dad, but it had patchy fur, was gray and skinny. But this girl was of fiery color and furry, just like in a fairy tale. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers that were searching for the dog's treat stumbled upon some soft, crumbled object.
Ничего.
You'll see.
Скоро проснутся настоящие звери.
The real beasts will wake up soon.
Спроси-ка лучше у них, где они взяли свои человеческие лица.
You should ask them where they got their human faces.
The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamp's light. The dog yapped in agreement. I freaked out and dropped my finding in the snow without getting a proper chance to examine it. Cold wind instantly covered the hole it created with snow. The dog rushed to dig it out, wanting to get its treat, and the fox just snorted. Now I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed even more thick. All neighboring houses were sleeping deeply in its inkiness. I did my best to continue the conversation with the weird girl I didn't know.
Так ты в школу идешь?
So are you going to school?
Ах, ну какой же дурачок.
Oh my, you are a real dummy.
Так ничего и не понял.
Don't you get it?
Well, I was trying to be friendly, but she can't stop mocking me. Calling me a dummy and all. I should have just moved along without paying any attention to this weirdo and her stupid dog.
А ты чего обзываешься?
Why are you so mean?
Не хочешь отвечать и пожалуйста.
Don't answer if you don't want to.
Никто не требует.
It's not like I care. Still, something froze me in place, tugged me towards the dark figure. A mysterious appearance, her voice that was just velvety and just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched her as people watch fires burn.
Ой, да не дуйся.
Oh, stop pouting.
Гляди-ка лучше.
Look here.
Ты нравишься Жульке.
Zulka took a liking to you.
The dog was digging through the snow with sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around and looked at the windows of a nearby house at its timbered front through the white mist. The tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light.
И не
It-
только ей.
And maybe someone else too.
I went red again, like a boiled crayfish this time. Is she talking about herself or someone else? I hoped that the semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from the girl. I cleared my throat before asking,
А кому еще я нравлюсь?
"And who's that person?" I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she could see in those winter paintings. The stray stopped rummaging through the snow. It ran to me, holding my object in her jaws. A mitten! Could it be the one I found in the forest? What is it doing here? When I looked closer, I realized that it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in there when I was asleep. A certain missing boy immediately came to mind.
Эй, ты знаешь что-нибудь про Вову?
Hey, do you know anything about Vova? I imagine the scene, silhouettes dancing in the clearing. The dance on the night when Vova had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward and maybe save my family. I remembered my birthday, when our parents promised to take me and Olya to Disneyland in Paris, but instead of a long-anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. I was crying my eyes out back then, demanding to take me to the promised amusement park. That was the first time when Mom and Dad had a big fight. My greediness shattered their relationship. If only I could fix everything, gather everybody I love, and take them to Disneyland.
В ночь, когда пропал Вова, я, кажется, видел, как кто-то похожий на тебя плясал под моим окном.
On the night Vova disappeared, I think I saw someone looking like you dancing around my window. It couldn't be true, but I felt like her mask became even more sly. The fox was sniffing me out.
А что, ты тогда испугался?
Oh, that got you worried?
За себя или кого-то еще?
For yourself or for someone else?
Olya, as soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened, and cold sweat steamed down my spine.
Ну так слушай меня внимательно, мальчик по имени Антон.
Well then, listen closely, a boy named Anton.
Это большой и страшный лес.
This is a big and scary forest.
The fox girl stepped forward menacingly.
И я не единственный его обитатель.
And I'm not its only tenant.
Другие звери уже знают это.
The other beasts already know about you.
Берегись нас. Этой ночью мы опять придем.
Beware, we'll come again tonight.
I shouldn't have talked to this evil in child form, I thought, panicking.
Пока ты со своей семьей будешь спать, подкрадемся близко-близко и станцуем.
When you and your parents will be fast asleep, we'll sneak really close and dance.
Макарену!
Macarena!
Ha ha!
Чё?
Huh?
Эй, Макарена!
Hey, Macarena!
У тебя прямо челюсть отвисла, Антоша!
Look at you, your mouth is agape, Antosha.
Видел он меня ночью у своего окна? Ага, как же!
He saw me near his window at night. Yeah, right.
А ты случаем не местный дурачок, нет?
Are you, by any chance, a dimwit?
Меня не отпускают гулять так поздно.
Nobody would let me go outside that late.
Здесь, знаешь ли, дети пропадают.
Children go missing here, you know.
I touched the plastic frame of my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death.
Ой, да не тереби ты окуляры свои.
Hey, why don't you stop fondling your glasses?
Я раньше тоже близорукой была.
I was also nearsighted once.
Лучше послушай меня. Может быть, ума наберешься.
Listen to me and maybe you'll become smarter.
Лисичку как обычно называют?
Remember, what do they call foxes?
Плутовка?
Cunning? My words seemed to hurt her.
Ох ты ж! Да как ты меня?
Hey, what did you...
Ой, прости.
Sorry. Her laughter was akin to the jingle of a pair of silver bells.
Да шучу я!
Just pulling your leg.
Конечно, плутовкой.
Of course we're cunning.
Если ты ловкий и смелый, не боишься с плутовкой водиться, я, так и быть, помогу разыскать этого Вову.
If you're agile and brave enough to befriend a cunning fox, I'll help you look for your Vova.
Ты же неспроста его ищешь, да?
There's a reason why you're doing it, right?
I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming.
Знаю, почему дети повадились соваться в наш лес.
I know why children have been swarming our forest recently.
Порой там можно найти много всякого интересного.
Sometimes you can find a lot of interesting stuff there.
Я вот однажды нашла целый сугроб конфет и купалась в нем. Да так что челюсть слиплась.
One day, I saw a huge pile of candy once, and I swam in it until my jaws cramped.
A pile of candy. I couldn't deduce whether she believed what she was saying from the tone of her voice. I showed her another smile, a fake one this time.
Посмотрите-ка, какой недоверчивый.
Boo, so wary.
Ну-ну, а что ты на это скажешь?
Well, what will you say to this then?
She held out her hand in a furry mitten. There was an assortment of sweets in her palm. In the city where I used to live, sweets like these were sold at markets or in kiosks. I saw my favorite bubblegum in a vivid wrapper among the tasty treasure. A familiar name was on it, Turbo. A triangular fox face poked her nose toward me.
Угощайся.
Take some.
У меня их полные карманы.
My pockets are full of these.
I am not taking candy from this fucking fox.
I really feel like you should.
Your goal in this is to try to get this child killed.
It's just candy!
Yeah, that's what people said in the 80s.
She's gonna be mad if you refuse.
Oh, so it's probably drugged candy or refusing it, and she's mad?
Yep.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Listen, I'm just saying.
I'm not taking.
Oh my god. Alright, don't take the candy, whatever.
Bro, you'd be when you were a kid. You would probably, I don't know how you weren't kidnapped like immediately. They'd be like, oh, I got Reese's, and you'd be like, all right, I'll be right there. Let's go.
Well, I wouldn't, but
Well,
on Halloween we would go inside people's houses to get candy
yeah.
and pop, and so, yep.
Well, you wouldn't because you're allergic to peanut butter. But Snickers?
Nope.
That's peanut butter. That's peanuts. God damn it! What doesn't have peanuts in it? A Twix.
Milky Way.
A Twix. Just for that, I'm refusing.
Нет, спасибо. Я...
No thanks. I didn't want to offend the first person I made contact with in this new place, but I also didn't want to take gum off the hands of some weird girl. What if she found it in a snow pile? What if it's a prank candy? The kind that blows up in your face when you unwrap it?
У меня на сладкое аллергия.
I'm allergic to sweets.
Что?
Aller what?
She sounded puzzled.
Ты чего? Живешь в мире таблеток и микстур?
Are you living in the world of pills and mixtures?
Ну, в целом, да.
Well, more or less. The fox whistled. Her palm was empty now. It floated in the air, catching snowflakes now that all the candy had suddenly disappeared.
И Новый год у вас правда раз в 12 месяцев?
And you only celebrate New Year's once in 12 months, right?
Есть эти...
And you have those...
She clicked her fingers, trying to remember something.
понедельники?
Mondays?
Ага.
Yeah. I smiled.
Как все запущено.
Man, you're a difficult case.
Вам бы, юноша, кило шоколада съесть против скуки и уныния.
I prescribe you a kilo of chocolate to battle your boredom, young man.
Who are you? I refrained from asking that question. She wouldn't answer anyway, or she'll just lie. I really wanted to see what's behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that beneath it wasn't just a simple young girl.
Может, Вова тоже нашел сугроб сладостей и теперь кувыркается в нем?
What if Volva also found a snow pile with sweets and is now rolling in it?
Слушай, вдруг он решил остаться в лесу?
Actually, what if he decided to stay in the forest?
Тогда, наверное, ему очень холодно в одной варежке.
He must be so cold without his second mitten, then.
The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, into the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches.
Или с ним что-то случилось в пути.
Or what if something happened to him along the way?
Что-то страшное.
Something terrible.
The forest reacted to her words, becoming alive. It sniffed me out, perking up its ears, just like a curious beast. The fox girl pierced me with her eyes again.
Дикие звери?
Wild beasts?
Это, по-твоему, страшно?
You find that scary?
Ну, не знаю.
Well, I don't know.
Не знает.
He doesn't know.
Уж не с двоечником ли я подружилась?
Oh my, have I befriended a dunce?
I didn't like being called a dunce, yet being friends with her sounded nice.
Я хорошист.
My grades are good!
Бел да пушист.
Really now?
Пойдешь со мной, хорошист Антон?
Will you come with me, good grades Anton?
Найдем твоего Вову и сам его спросишь, что он нашел в этой гуще.
We'll find your friend Volva and you'll be able to ask him what he found deep in the forest.
Ведь пока мы вместе, никто тебя в лесу не тронет.
As long as you're with me, nothing can hurt you in the forest.
Вот увидишь.
You'll see.
Worms of worry writhed in my belly. Better run, whispered my mind.
Я тебе не верю.
I don't believe you.
Ты думаешь, я врунья?
Do you take me for a liar?
Да и пожалуйста, мне никогда никто не верит.
Whatever, you're just like everybody else.
The girl sounded hurt, although I didn't know if she was genuine about it. She turned around as if she had immediately lost all interest in me. I remember my dad's favorite saying, "Where are your manners, son?" Indeed, this fox was kind to me.
Не обижайся, пожалуйста.
Please, don't get mad.
Лисы бывают и добрыми.
Foxes can also be nice,
Ну, как в сказках.
like in fairy tales.
Мне бы только понять, что ты за лиса.
I just need to know what kind of fox you are. The girl giggled, hiding the nose of her mask in her hands.
Тогда пойдем со мной в лес, и ты все обо мне узнаешь.
Then follow me into the forest, and you'll get to know me.
Но не сейчас, а когда рассветет, а то тебя, бедного, всего аж потряхивает.
But not right now, when it gets bright. I mean, your whole body is shaking, you poor thing.
Того и гляди, кондрашка хватит.
I don't want you to get a stroke.
Айда, провожу тебя до школы.
Hey, let me accompany you to school.
After hearing this, the dog barked in agreement and stopped messing with the mitten. I leaned in, trying to grab the piece of handwear that almost ran away from me.
Ну, если тебе по пути...
Well, if we're going in the same direction, we went towards the school in the lost dawn. Here and there, the lights came on in the windows of houses we passed, as if their inhabitants were sending us warning signs. Silhouettes lurked behind the curtains. Dogs let out occasional barks. Spirals of gray smoke rose from chimneys. TVs bustled and dishes clanged in the kitchens. We watched the village slowly rise from its slumber, while carefully treading the snowy wheel trails. I walked in the left one and she took the right one. The dog was following right behind us. I expected the fox to bring up something weird again, but she stayed silent all the way to the school, as if playing with me some game only she was privy to. She would only giggle from time to time, when the dog sneezed from the snowflakes that fell on its nose. I was the first to break the silence.
Так как тебя зовут?
So what's your name?
А, ну конечно.
Here it comes.
Имена, имена, имена.
Names, names, names.
Людям непременно надо вешать ярлыки на все подряд.
You people always need to put labels on something.
Ну и как бы ты назвал такую лису, как я?
What name would you give a fox like me?
Даже не знаю.
I don't know,
Но я читал про лису по имени Алиса.
but I've read about Eliza the fox.
А что?
You know what?
Я не против.
I don't mind.
Пусть будет Алиса.
I'll be Elisa.
I couldn't understand if she was joking or not. I turned around as if looking for an answer from the dog, from the dark sky devoid of dawn. My silent questions were left unanswered. The school's outline was already in our sight. A giant brick box stuck in the endless night. Lights in its windows didn't bode well for me. The warden trees were guarding the schoolyard. Screams, childish laughter, and someone's whistling tore up the silence. I went here with Mom when we just moved, and the place looked cozy at that time. Empty corridors that smelled of polish, puffy, snow outside. The second time I came alone to get the books and just kept on imagining my peers rolling down the railings, grade schoolers running to the library, and teachers marching down the corridor with the air of self-importance around them. High schoolers were smoking at the entrance, in track pants and wool caps, perched on their foreheads. The appearance destroyed the last of hopes for a cozy school. Their stingy eyes and teeth yellow from nicotine, their smirks, all of it had the same gloomy effect as the cloudy winter morning. Absorbed by my thoughts, I completely forgot about my companion.
После уроков жду тебя на заднем дворе,
I'll wait for you at the backyard after school,
возле повешенного.
near the hanged man.
Возле кого?
Near what? She just ignored my question.
Не опаздывай.
Don't be late.
I hesitated. Blowing hot and cold again, Mom always said that when I would have trouble choosing between two options. Thinking about Mom helping me reply,
Я после школы сразу домой.
I'm going straight home after school.
Эх, Антоша, Антоша, это я тебя так просто отпустил.
Well, Antosha, I'm going to let you off the hook.
Другие же незаметно подкрадутся со своими улыбочками и вцепятся. Клещами не оторвешь.
But the others will creep up to you with their smiles and sink their teeth into you. Won't be able to shake them off as easily.
Попомни мои слова.
Remember my words.
The fox opened her mouth in a wide yawn. What kind of trick is this? Someone running in the distance called out my name. I instinctively turned around. A huge snowball whizzed past my shoulder and hit the dog. It whimpered and ran towards the spring. The darkness devoured it. The fox girl was also nowhere to be seen. She dissolved into frosty air. Or was she hiding in my shadow? After taking a deep breath, I went towards the school, towards the cutlets and dough, towards the light raining down onto the snow. Oh, looks like I have no choice. I guess we're entering.
Great.
Jesus. Fucking hawking a loogie over here.
Mm-hmm.
I could hear muffled voices behind the doors, saw blinking lamps. Darkness creeped along the windows, and it felt like the school was drifting in open space like a lonely, lost spaceship. After going up to the second floor, I noticed a crowd around the notice board. Everyone was taking part in a lively discussion. I moved closer and took a look at something everyone was interested in through a wall of backpacks. There was a piece of paper with something printed on it, glued to the left of the notice board. It's Vova. Vova, 10 years old, grade 4. He left his home on January the 5th around 1600 and never returned. Was last seen at the bridge over the river. He was wearing an orange coat with a hood, a black wool cap, a scarf, and mittens. I think that was I feel like that was I could be wrong. It was either a child or a female.
Child missing?
Yeah.
Oh. Child missing.
Vova, that was his name, a 4th grader. On that grainy print, Vova looked dead, with a black mouth and dark, empty eye sockets. Could it be that the darkness, dwelling deep in the forest, invaded his pores and mutilated his face? A plastic toy gun couldn't protect him from the whispering branches and the howling wind. Empty eyes of the lost boy pierced through my soul, as if pleading. Unable to meet his stare, I turned around and rushed to the window, took a seat on the windowsill. The corridor was slowly filling up with children, in groups of few. Nobody paid me any mind. In the darkness of school toilets, child's voices were hammering a nursery rhyme. For the foxes and for the bear, bunny tasty meals, prepare! It's like an 80s rock song. I turned my head toward them, trying to get a better look at their features, but then my attention was stolen by a loud clicking sound. A female teacher marched down the corridor with her chin raised up high. Her heels were hitting the floor like miniature hooves. A girl was trailing her every step. She was also looking pompous, stopping along the way and whispering some secret in her friend's ear. She was probably a class rep since she was carrying an attendance register book.
Екатерина, возьми, пожалуйста.
Ekaterina, take this, please.
The teacher opened the classroom door and the crowd of children swarmed in, screaming and pushing. Out of them, a tall, red-headed fat boy caught my attention. His face was full of blisters. He looked like the insides of a pomegranate. A bad feeling risen up the hair on the back of my head. I've seen boys like him before. Unsettled eyes, crackling laughter. The girl, who was a smaller copy of the teacher, warned the boy with a wave of her hand and entered the room through the clearing in the crowd. Some other guy stood in the way of the crowd and the redhead immediately shoved him. Move your legs, moron! The boy flew headfirst, flailing his hands, trying to keep his balance. The fatso burst out laughing and a couple of kids joined his nasty cackling. Their laughter sounded like someone was snipping with huge garden scissors. The classroom sucked all of the kids in. The corridor stood empty. I wanted to grow roots and stay on the windowsill. Just a handful of lampposts outside were battling in the darkness, writhing like fluorescent fish in the black ocean. Maybe I could still run away? Go outside, dissolve in the dark? I imagine myself running through snow, how it squeaks under my boots, and how I'm becoming lighter and lighter with every step. The ringer's trill blew that illusion away. I tore myself from the window with great effort. Then I took a couple of deep breaths, trying to at least calm down my mad pulse, and entered the classroom. The prim teacher looked at me over the frame of her glasses, clearly annoyed.
Я новенький.
I'm the transfer student?
Мне вот сказали к вам подойти.
I was told to come here? The snowy forest trail was winding in front of my eyes. The pines rustled, but it didn't sound predatory anymore. She buried herself in the register and flicked through the pages.
А фамилия-то как?
Your last name?
Петров.
Petrov?
Громче говори.
Huh? What are you mumbling there?
Чего мямлишь?
Say it clearly.
Петров.
Petrov!
Нет такого.
You're not on the list.
She measured me with a long, heavy stare as if trying to see if I was lying. I wanted to sink through the floor. Hazy faces observed all of that from the left. The classroom breathed and snorted in unison, like a living organism, like a dangerous beast.
Ты не ошибся?
Are you sure?
Нет такого в списке.
I don't have you in my register.
My knees chose the worst time to start shaking, and I felt dizzy. I clutched my fist so hard my knuckles became white.
Мне сказали, 204 кабинет, Лилия Павловна, 6 В.
They told me to come to classroom 204 to ask for Lilia Pavlovna, class 6C. Apparently everyone in the classroom took my words for some sort of joke because they were all laughing.
Что за бардак?
What's wrong with this school?
The classroom fell silent. The kids hid their smirks for a better occasion.
Понаберут студентов.
Why do we hire so many interns?
Только знают, что губяки свои малевать. А я разгребай, значит.
They all know how to put lipstick all over their bulging lips, but when it comes to real problems, I have to solve everything.
А бумаги-то кто заполнять будет? Не первый раз ведь уже.
How did they send you here without any proper paperwork? Ugh. We've had this same thing happen so many times already.
Подожди здесь. Сейчас.
Wait here. I'll be back.
Сейчас я им устрою.
After I have a little chat with them.
The teacher flew past me, mumbling something to herself in righteous anger, and I was left standing at the center of the classroom. Like a convict in front of a firing squad, I lowered my gaze, feeling the mocking stares from all around the classroom directed at me. They prickled my skin, danced on it like laser sights. Once again, I imagined running far away from this place, fighting the clawing wind, soaring high above the pines in one long jump, with the wind in my back as my only companion. The eyes of my future classmates were asking, this new boy, is he one of us or an outsider? Somebody whispered something and sniffled laughter rolled through the classroom.
Доску вытри!
Wipe the board! It was easy to guess who was the main prankster here.
Эй, очкарик!
Hey, Four Eyes!
Ты чё, не только слепой, но еще и глухой?
Are you not only blind, but also deaf?
Доску вытри, говорю!
I said, wipe the board. My knees weren't the only shaking part of my body anymore. I was trembling from head to toe, and I prayed for the teacher to come back sooner. My prayers were answered by the powers that be.
Ну что мне с тобой делать-то?
And what should I do with you now?
Куда сажать, а?
Where will you sit?
Давай-ка сядь, наверное, с Семеном.
Oh well. You can sit with Semyon, I guess.
Он все равно один.
He's alone anyway.
Еще чего?
No way. The fatso put his backpack on the seat beside him in defiance, scratched his belly and smirked.
Ты опять за старое?
Are you back to your old tricks?
Снова бабушку в школу вызывать?
Should I call your grandma here again?
The classroom went silent.
А чё она мне сделает?
And what's she gonna do?
Не она, так я тебе сделаю.
I'll be the one to do something if she doesn't.
Рюкзак убрал быстро.
Put away your backpack. Now!
Semyon didn't move a muscle. He started studying the portraits of writers on the wall, looking bored. I needed to do something to resolve this somehow, to save myself. I cleared my throat and continued in a sniffled voice that sounded nothing like me.
Я могу за последнюю парту сесть.
I can sit in the last row.
Там, кажется, свободно.
I think there's a free seat. The teacher snorted loudly. She looked at me, then at Semyon, then back at me.
Ладно, садись пока туда.
Fine. Go there for now.
А с тобой, Бабурин, мы еще поговорим.
And you, Baburian, I'll have a talk with you later.
Чтобы подошел после уроков.
Come to me after classes.
Будешь по классу дежурить, ясно?
You'll be on cleaning duty. Got it?
Semyon forced out a twisted smile. Juicy pimples were growing on the tip of his nose, ripe for the taking. I walked carefully, afraid to stumble and fall, causing another outburst of laughter from everyone. I took my seat at the back, at the last table, where I was met with a pile of old posters. The outcasts took their seats, and the class was ready to start.
Вот и хорошо. Начнем урок.
Now this is settled. Let's start the class.
Тема: традиции русской и мировой литературы в рассказе Зощенко «Не надо врать».
Today's theme is traditions of Russian and international literature in Zoshenko's Don't Lie.
The fatso turned back to me. His stare informed me of the coming days, weeks, and months of bullying. I've got my eyes on you, said his watery look. After just a couple of periods, I had already noticed a huge yellow spit stain in my notebook. Then at the cafeteria, this simian accidentally spilled a glass of compote on me. And then he flailed his hands around after exiting the toilet so some of the liquid from his hands would get on me. Just before the final period for today, Simeon pushed me into a buzzing crowd of girls from our class. Oh, not on the boobs, kid. They made way, cursing, but I couldn't hold my balance and ended up ramming my face into the girl I took for the class rep before, right in her chest.
Oh.
I immediately stepped back, dying from embarrassment.
Прости, ты в порядке?
I'm sorry, are you alright?
Я...
Then she suddenly put her hands on her hips.
Нет, ну вы посмотрите на него.
Will you look at him?
Облапал меня прямо у всех на глазах.
Groping me in front of everyone.
Я сейчас все маме расскажу.
I'll tell my mom.
Тебя из школы выгонят, извращенец.
They'll expel you, pervert.
There was some sort of sadistic pleasure in her eyes, as if she was a child who was about to put a lit-up match to a chaffer beetle.
Я нечаянно. Меня толкнули.
I didn't mean to. He pushed me.
Все видели. Слепых среди нас нет.
We all saw that, you know. No blind among us.
She stared at my glasses while showing me a creepy smile. I started to fume on the inside, but Simeon's laughter cooled my head.
Толкнули?
I pushed you? You sure? He swaggered up to me and enveloping me in the smell of sunflower seeds and rotting teeth, and then pushed me to the ground.
Вот так, да? И
Like-
что ты сделаешь?
Like this, huh? What you gonna do now? The bully towered over me, as if saying, come on, hit me. Let me see you try. I say we beat the shit out of him.
I mean, do you think we can?
I
Why do you
mean...
want to beat the shit out of him now? And not run away? Are you kidding me?
Because sometimes
No,
it's,
absolutely not.
it's like prison rules, you know. You have to pick out the biggest and toughest guy and beat the
Oh
shit
my-
out of him.
I have wanted you to go to the forest with the people, take the candy, and you're like, that's so
I'm
scary.
trying
but you wanna fight this fucking kid?
I'm trying to avoid death from forest creatures. This kid's not going to kill us.
But death from the school kid isn't?
Look, we'll pop his pimples.
Alright, if you want to fight him, go for it.
We'll pop his pimples. I'm gonna fight it.
Ew.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Bro, he
No.
shouldn't be bullying anybody right now.
Of course he's bullying them. Alright,
not-
fight him if you want
I
to.
mean, we're not a fighter, though. I really want to fight back, but we're not a fighter. We'll
We're-
probably get our ass
we're-
kicked.
Exactly. And then they're gonna laugh at us even more.
Fine, you talked me out of it.
Well,
I breathed in loudly, stood up, and massaging my temples. Simeon made a mocking face as if asking me wordlessly, and what are you going to do about it? Nice teeth, bro. And I looked at his red fist that seemed so big to me at the moment and realized if I had said even a single word, I'd get hit. And he'll keep on hitting me until I cry, or maybe even that won't stop him. And nobody was going to help me.
Простите,
Sorry.
я споткнулся.
I tripped. What a pathetic squeak. If you could actually burn up from shame, I would have been reduced to cinders by now.
Ходить нормально научись,
learn how to walk.
слепошара.
Blind rat.
I lowered my eyes and squeezed past Simeon. He showered me with the smell of decaying teeth.
Пока-пока, терпела.
Bye-bye, sucker. The fatso let out a loud snort behind my back. My muscles became wooden. I felt him wiping his hand on my back. I continued walking, listening to demeaning smirks from all sides. It was even worse than I expected. I was late to leave the school after classes on purpose. Simeon didn't attend the last period, so I was hopeful. What if he decided to dodge the cleaning duty and ran home, forgetting all about me? This was a relief. I didn't want to meet him in the empty hallway. The smirks of my classmates stood before my eyes, looked like overturned horseshoes. My classes had a lot of fun at my expense, but those who missed the show were asking the others to describe my bullying in full detail. I should have just transferred into the school for freaks. I'd be less conspicuous amongst hunchbacks, lame-legged and disfigured. While the other students were leaving the school laughing loudly, I was pretending to skim through my books near a window. I was staring outside, nervous. Simeon was nowhere to be found in the front yard or near the school gate. I didn't really believe I was this lucky, so I decided to be extra cautious and stayed for some more time in the corridor that was gradually getting less crowded. All of the bustle moved to the first floor. There was a skeleton peeking out of the biology classroom. Some jokester put a cap with the American condor on its head. The sound of running water were coming from the bathroom. I was the only person left in the whole school. I'm not alone. A sudden thought came to my mind. I remembered the missing boy. His portrait was on the notice board near the schedule. I remembered his smile, him looking at me, and the fact that he's most likely already dead.
Привет.
Hello?
I shuddered and turned around. At first, my eyes stumbled upon the black violin case. Then I noticed the girl from my class was holding it. As she sat in the first row of the second column, I could swear I caught her looking at me a couple of times, and I was sneaking glances at her myself. Sometimes it just feels nice to look at something pretty, the spring, the sky, or a girl that's not in the crowd that laughs at Simeon's jokes. And she wasn't whispering the dirty laundry of other people to Katya. She spent all the breaks just like me, staying in the classroom or looking in the window or drawing something in her green notebook.
Здравствуй.
Hello? I turned red and pretended I was studying the pattern on a wooden floor.
Я видела, как Бабурин тебя толкнул.
I saw Baburin push you.
Ты в порядке?
Are you alright?
The bump on my head hurt, but it wasn't all that much uncomfortable.
В порядке.
I'm fine.
Пустяк.
It's nothing.
Ага, пустяк.
It's definitely not nothing.
Этот придурок в последнее время совсем распоясался.
That idiot can't control himself at all lately.
Врезал бы ты ему.
You should have punched him back.
I tried, lady.
Oh my god.
I tried.
Угу.
I mumbled in reply.
Вроде Семен раньше таким не был.
Simeon wasn't like that before.
Он к нам недавно перевелся.
He also transferred here just recently.
Бабушка мне его по секрету сказала, что он словно взбесился.
His grandma told me that it almost felt like he went mad.
I started shoving books in my backpack to at least put something in my hands. The girl looked at me with her clear, attentive eyes.
А ты за рекой живешь?
Do you live over the river?
В том деревянном доме?
In that wooden house?
Ну да.
Yeah.
Там, наверное, страшно.
Must be scary living there.
Да еще через лес идти.
You also have to cross the forest.
Я бы так не смогла.
I wouldn't be able to do that.
I shivered at the mention of the forest. I thought of intertwining branches of a snake-like trail of endless darkness that spread like mold among the crooked trees. So I straight up lied.
Да не так уж там и страшно.
It's not that scary.
А что тебя так пугает?
What's so scary about it for you? She smiled after a brief pause, as if brushing off a daydream.
Да так, ничего.
Well, actually, never mind.
Меня, кстати, Полина зовут.
My name is Paulina, by the way.
А меня Антон.
And I'm Anton.
Ну, это я знаю.
I already know that.
Ой, мне на музыку пора.
Oh, I have to go to music class.
She made a couple of steps and stopped. Amazing. Paulina didn't look like those beauties from the magazine posters or the actresses from the movies, but in the flickering light of the ceiling lamp, she looked much more alluring.
А ты играешь на чем-нибудь?
Can you play anything?
My parents bought me a guitar a couple of years ago. I immediately remembered my meager attempts at making music. Change. We're all waiting for change. Toyce's song echoed my thoughts and my desire to change something. That guitar got lost somewhere, as if refusing to move to the old house near the forest. I think my parents gave it away to someone that needed it more.
Увы, не играю.
I don't, sadly.
Жалко.
Pity.
Ну ладно, я побежала.
Oh well, I'll be going.
Пока!
Bye!
Her shout was captured by the loud echo. Her shoes also echoed through the school hallways.
Пока!
Bye! I wasn't sure if Paulina heard me. I looked out the window again. Oh, I'm sorry, Simeon would say while shoving me off the staircase, in a way that could break my neck. Or, oops, didn't mean that, after spilling compote on me in the cafeteria. And this kept happening every day. I couldn't relax for a moment because of this string of coincidences. And to my horror, I realized that it was only going to get worse and I couldn't do anything about it. I always walked looking down at school and counted down minutes until the classes ended. Only in rare moments when I caught Paulina's look at me, I choked from embarrassment and was ready to fight, but as if to mock me, nothing happened. And then my rage subsided and everything returned to normal. I always went home alone. First I slipped through the village, then over the bridge, across the river, and then finally through the forest. The road slithered between the trees for around 10 minutes. There were no passerby, only cars slowly crawled past me, as if afraid to sink in snow. I tried walking as fast as possible because branches, white from the snow, and black trunks created an illusion of something wandering the forest. Somebody tall, sneaky, who can turn into a tree or a snow pile and then, when nobody is looking at them, continue their journey along the road.
Ну, здорово, Антошка.
Yo, Antoshka. My heart nearly stopped. From the darkness behind the pines, just like caveman from their cave, appeared smirking Simeon with a bunch of his cronies.
Опачки, какая встреча!
And who do we have here?
Очкарик в жопе шарик на.
Check out this four-eyed freak, huh? They surrounded me like a carnivorous pride, making me step back. A smell of sweat and tobacco attacked my nostrils. The inside of my mouth felt salty, as if I'd licked a battery.
Глядите на этого сопляка, пацаны.
Look at this sucker, guys.
В школе так споткнулся, что паркет помял.
He tripped so hard at school that he broke the floor.
А ремонтировать кто будет?
Who will repair it now?
Кинешься на ремонт, терпила.
And will you pay for it, wimp?
Не бзди, мы тебя правильно ходить научим.
Don't you worry. We'll teach you how to walk right. Simeon brought a sizable signet ring with some geometric shape carved in it up to my face.
Ща, парашник, я тебе
Оу.
этой печаткой так зарежу. Клеймо на всю жизнь останется.
Well, I'm not saying that one word.
Nope.
In the meantime, I'll hit your face so hard, it'll leave a mark for the rest of your life.
Стой!
Stop! A wheezing whisper left my lips and my head tilted forward, hitting Simeon's fist. Red sparks flew from my eyes. They're going to gang up on me and beat me up. Oh.
Яша, подсоби!
Vasha, give him a hand! Simeon gave me a rough push towards the bastard with the slanting eyes and he tripped me. I fell in the sharp crust of ice and the fatso stepped on my hand, preventing me from getting up. A painful groan escaped my throat.
Слыхали, как заныл?
Did you hear him whimper?
А ты случаем не педик?
Is he actually or something? I started to lose breath from anger and resentment. The pain was growing. My ear was hot and pulsating. Pain was shooting through it, like it was cut off and a ball of nettle was sewn in its place.
Че молчишь, Антошка?
Why so silent, Antoshka?
Отвечай, ты педик?
Man, he's really going for it.
They really like that word.
They really going for it. Come on, tell us, are you? At this moment, I felt pure, unbridled rage. The amalgamation of my anger. Like the sprout's ink, and it rose up from the depths of my mind, filling all of my thoughts.
Твари!
Morons!
Знаете,
Did you know
мой отец...
that my dad,
Кто-то педик.
oh wow, is also a... Simeon burst out laughing. This became the last straw. Fear and anger were grappling inside of me like mad dogs.
Он айкидо занимался, поняли?
He knows Aikido, got it?
Он еще воевал.
And he's a vet.
Таких, как вы, с закрытыми глазами убивает.
He'll kill the likes of you with his eyes closed.
Я только слово скажу, он...
One word from me and he'll... The boy in a tracksuit raised his hands, stopping the torrent of lies, and made a couple of steps forward. Simeon slowly backed off, giving me an opportunity to stand up. It was a surprise for me. Seems like Babaran wasn't the leader of their gang. In reality, they were all listening to the boy who was looking like a small carnivore with very strong and sharp teeth. Pines were swaying back and forth like solemn guardians. Did you believe me? Or was he confused by my face, twisted with rage?
Воевал, говоришь?
A vet, you say.
Мой батя тоже воевал.
My dad also fought in the war.
В Афгане.
An Afghan.
А твой?
And yours? Mine too.
Да, и в каких войсках, интересно?
Oh, really? And what force did he serve in? I stumbled. Fear chomped on my rage's throat and made it bleed.
Да он фуфло гонит, Ромка.
He's full of shit, Romka.
Бля, будуна.
Sure as fuck, eh?
Думал, меня так просто развести?
Did you think I'm as easy to trick?
Я тебя, сучонка, насквозь вижу.
I could see through all of your lies, little bitch. There was a nasty smile on his face now. This didn't bode well for me.
Ты сам себе приговор подписал.
Well, you've asked for this.
Хана тебе.
You're fucked.
Во-во.
That's right.
Давай, Антошка, молись, чтобы твой труп по весне нашли мне.
Pray that they find your dead body come spring, eh?
Сидел бы ниже травы, был бы целочка.
Oh, if only you'd stayed silent, wouldn't have lost a hair.
Но про Афган пиздеть, где мой батя под пулями. Долг интернациональный. В Даште Марго, блядь.
But fucking around with stuff like Afghan, where my dad spent time under fire, international duty, and fucking Dashta Margot?
Сёма, ушатай-ка его.
Give him a good pounding.
Why do they keep changing his name?
I don't know, maybe it's a nickname. Give him a good pounding, Sayama. The delinquents closed in on me again, and I ended up in front of Simeon. Blood was pumping in my temples. Branches were swaying back and forth as if whispering something, giving me hope. I gritted my teeth, fighting the thought that I looked silly, and took a boxing stance I often saw in the movies.
Хера ты, Майк Тайсон.
What are you, fucking Mike Tyson? This was my first ever fight. I'll remember it for the rest of my life if I didn't kick the bucket, of course. At the edge of my vision, I noticed the darkness writhe again, as if someone was walking back and forth there. I sensed Roma's claws grab my backpack.
Манатки, Антошка.
Give me your shit, Antoshka.
Махаться мешает.
It'll get in the way. I was about to refuse, unwilling to cooperate with the bastard, but then he fished a butterfly knife out of his pocket with one smooth motion, spun it as if showing off, and put the blade to my neck.
Слышь, Фрей, расслабься, а то больно будет.
Hey, easy, buddy. I can make it painful. I let out a cloud of steam instead of words. Rumka pulled with all of his might, and my backpack ended up in his hands. Calm and relaxed. An insidious smile on his face, he looked into my backpack.
Ты от нас что-то скрываешь, да?
Are you hiding something from us?
У меня в школе какая-то крыса сменку подрезала.
Some rat stole my school shoes.
Ща поглядим, может это был...
Let me see if it was.
Опачки!
And what's this? Rumka gave me a dubious smile.
Так, а что это у нас здесь?
So what do we have here? My texts and notebooks fell in the snow. He was holding my backpack in one hand and something weird in the other. It looked like a mask. Roma lifted it high as if showing to someone else, to someone in the treetops, in the twilight among the trees. An old bunny mask. Long, worn-out ears, barely visible nose and whiskers, mangy fur on the sides. Where did you get this from? Who put it there? Simeon laughed.
Новый год уже прошел, мудила.
It's way past New Year's, moron.
Или ты реально поехавший?
Or are you really a loony?
Это не мое!
It's not mine.
Да как не твое, В твоем портфеле лежало на.
How come it's not? It was in your backpack. Ramka was watching the scene unfold with an evil smile on his face.
А знаешь что?
And you know what?
Надевай.
Put it on.
Зачем?
Why?
Надевай, говорю.
'Cause I'm telling you to.
Попрыгаешь перед нами, зайчик.
You'll hop like a bunny for us.
Давай, давай!
Yeah, come on.
Или без штанов домой пойдешь на.
Or we'll leave you pantless, huh? Anything but this. What if someone from our class will pass by? For example, Polina.
Нет!
No!
Сёма, надень-ка на него.
Soma, put it on him.
Хе.
Basha rushed to his friend's side and took the worn-out mask from him with a buffoonish bow. Then he passed it to Simeon, who was already rubbing his hands in anticipation. I looked around the pine woods, as if waiting for help, as if the shadows that writhed around us would take pity on me and take my side. Branches looked like arms, twisted in unusual angles. Blackened bark was their charred skin, and the darkness was the smoke that produced. I can't run, won't get away, they'll catch me. And then,
Вот,
here,
это чтобы маска хорошо налезла.
it'll fit better this way. He hurled a huge ball of spit on the inside of the plastic bunny mask and put it close to mine. His spit looked like a squashed spider. Ramka's face twisted. He spasmed like a beast, like he wanted to tell Simeon something, but then he suddenly stopped. Simeon was too close by, with a disgusting smirk on his face and a terrible smell coming from his mouth.
Надевай, быра,
Put it on! Fast!
а ты урою.
Or you're dead. The mask almost looked even more disgusting now, yet, despite everything, I felt like it was a chance for salvation. It could become my second skin, if only I was to put it on, if only my face was to touch its bumpy surface. I'm sure the fur will glitter, The ears will tremble like they're alive. I just need to put it on and Simeon and his friends will be gone. Forever. I guess I have no choice.
No choice.
This kid back here looking menacingly. I reached out my hand, wasn't shaking anymore. Simeon handed me the mask and let out an evil laugh. The fur felt warm to the touch, just like I expected. I got goosebumps. Electricity flowed through my spine.
Вот оно,
This is it.
мое спасение.
My salvation. I would secretly brush the spit out of there.
That's what I was thinking too, honestly.
Yeah. A voice whispered to me from the well of my subconscious. Just put it on and nobody will hurt you. The forest froze, gazing at me with cracks in the dark. I acted slowly. I took off my glasses. Got rid of the nasty spit on the papier. There you go. There was a movement inside of the bunny face, as if something was trying to break out, and I needed to help it. I lifted up the mask and started moving it towards my flaming cheeks, just like in that movie with Jim Carrey. The Mask.
The mask.
This mask had power. This mask had strength. Carton touched my skin. It enveloped my skull, my nose, took the shape of my face. It smelled like an animal lair in pine. My lips touched in some sort of hard, wavy material. My armor. Strangely enough, through the slits of the old carnival mask, I was able to see as good as through my glasses. A trio of boys frozen in the clearing. Snowflakes frozen in the air. The trees, whose shadows formed black streams toward me, in a weird silhouette in the early twilight behind the windfall. In all that silence, Simeon nervously whispered,
Пацаны,
Hey,
что с ним?
hey guys, what's up with him? I broadened my shoulders. My muscles felt like they were made of steel. Invisible plumes of fog flew toward me, breaking off the trees. I was absorbing the forest's power with every pore of my body. I smiled underneath the mask. No, I showed my teeth. My fists were itching. My stomach was growling.
Он превращается!
He's turning! You asked for this. I made a step forward. Simeon carefully stepped toward me as if he was walking on thin ice. A trail from my dreams snaked in front of me again. Endless alluring, it was beckoning me away from all the problems to the new wonderful world, the world of magic Neverland. I pulled on the zipper, opened my coat, and threw it into the snow with a fast motion. Then growled. I felt like something was frantically looking for the exit underneath my skin. I went towards Simeon.
Он превращается!
He's turning!
Твою мать!
Fuck!
Превращается!
Turning.
Конченого мудака!
Wow. Into a fucking moron! The clearing blew up in the hysteric laughter. Biasha was clutching his stomach. Roma smirked, shaking his head. And Simeon, who was laughing the most out of the three, spat on his knuckles and waved his fist like a club.
Ну и дебил же ты, Тошик!
You're such a moron, Tosha. A fist collided with my mask. The fur didn't dampen the blow at all. There was no power, no magic smoke coming from the pines. I flew towards the bushes and landed on my butt. My vision, bolstered by adrenaline a moment before it returned to normal.
Вот это был номер.
Now that was something.
Думал, он на четвереньки встанет и сгрызет нас всех,
I thought he'd get on all fours and tear us to bits.
как морковку.
Like a carrot.
Не, ну вы видели,
Yo, did you see that,
видели?
Did ya?
Это считается, что он попрыгал.
Does that count as him hopping?
Это даже лучше.
That was even better. I sobbed. The mask had one advantage. If I cried now, nobody could see my tears.
Ну и дурик.
What a loony.
Да тебе в психбольнице место.
You belong in a loony house.
Психбольница для животных, на!
For animals, eh? Simeon put his knee into the snow pile and ripped the glasses out of my numbed fingers.
Отдай очки.
Give my glasses back.
Я домой не дойду.
I won't make it home.
Чё ж,
Bullshit.
знаешь, какой у зайцев нюх?
Haven't you heard that bunnies have a good sense of smell?
По запаху доберешься, не ссы.
So don't worry, just use it.
Прыг-скок, прыг-скок.
Hippity hop, Hippity hop. Simeon shoved the trophy into his pocket and flashed me a toothy grin.
Кролики очки не носят.
Besides, bunnies don't wear glasses.
А теперь вали отсюда, Даун.
Now scram, moron. I stood up, still wobbly. The trees became a blurry dark wall. 3 bright silhouettes were wobbling around me. There were black spots on them, their eye sockets and mouths, but it looked to me like there was more of them than there should be. I turned to the forest. Simeon's boot came to my rescue, kicking me in the butt and quickening my shameful retreat.
Prick-cock, prick-cock.
Hippity hop, hippity hop. I threw the mask into the ravine out of spite. And then zigzagged through the fire break alone in a giant snow-laden world. The trunks around me bent in all directions, their treetops disappeared into the darkness above me. The sky was pushing me down. I wanted to cry, but my eyes were completely dry by now. Only sadness and longing were left, a desire to bury myself under the snow or leave for the Neverland, joining Vova and Senya. I didn't care where to go, just somewhere far away from here. Somewhere very far away.
Так, я не поняла. Антон, а где очки? Потерял?
Hey, what's this? Where are your glasses, Anton? Did you lose them?
Да, ну, мам,
See,
И как можно быть таким рассеянным? Ты думаешь, я деньги печатаю?
How can you be so careless? Do you think I own a money printing press?
Как же? Будешь до следующего года в старых очках ходить.
Yeah, right. You'll be wearing your old glasses until next year.
Oya rushed to me.
А я лису видела!
I saw a fox.
Surprise akin to a shotgun blast. I could only flap my lips in reply. A cup shattered into many little pieces with a loud thang. My mom let it fall from her hands. Her face was pale and her eyes were glued to the ground. This pause, just a split second, felt like an eternity. Then my mom spoke with disappointment.
First it was an owl, now it's a fox. Will you ever get tired of this?
Правда, правда!
But it's true.
Такая пушистая!
She was so fluffy.
Она у забора стояла на задних лапах, совсем как человек.
She stood on her back legs near the hedge, just like a person.
Она меня позвала, а тут мама вышла, и лиса убежала.
The fox called my name, but then Mom came and she fled.
Не было там.
There was no fox.
Не выдумывай.
Stop making things up.
не подходи к ней.
Don't go near her. If it was necessary, I was ready to shake my sister as if she was a doll made of cloth.
Ты чего, Тоша?
What's wrong, Tosha?
Не подходи, слышишь?
Don't go, you hear me? Mom entered the hallway and gave me a surprised look. I hesitated.
Ну, лиса ведь укусить может.
Well, a fox will bite you. I remembered fairy tales where foxes used to kidnap children. I imagine, Eliza liberated, carnivorous, running through the night forest with a dangling sack in her hands.
Это ж была не настоящая лиса.
It wasn't a real fox.
Расскажи ему, Оль.
Tell him, Olya.
Она на 2 ногах ходила, а еще была в платье одета.
She stood on 2 legs and she wore a dress.
Только она была взаправду.
And she was real.
Видишь?
See?
Mom showed us a tired smile as if it was the only explanation needed. I also forced myself to smile. My smile was like a thin piece of soap right before it dissolves completely on your palm. But when I was left alone with my sister, I whispered,
Еще раз увидишь ее, беги.
"If you see her again, run." I shut my eyes and threw the vitamins in my mouth, washed them down with water. Please stop driving me mad, please. I was doing my homework on a Friday evening, like usual. I had already finished the hard part. There was only my art homework left, my favorite subject. Oh yeah, I needed to draw some sort of magic beast. I wanted to draw Dino at first, but my brush reached towards the orange paint all by itself. One stroke after another, the picture of a fox started slowly forming on a piece of paper. She was almost popping out of the snow, white sheet. She stood on her back legs and wore a sly smile. My brush moved again, drawing a fluffy tail. A moment later, it dropped out of my weak hand. After I finished my drawing, I spent a while studying it in surprise, as if I couldn't understand where this red beast came from. The longer I looked, the scarier her face felt. Carnivorous fake, like the smiles of the women from adult magazines that were sold in press kiosks back in the city. An alluring smile that masked deep-seated malice. And the fox's eyes turned out red, as if bloodshot. They looked more like bullet holes you see in an action movie. I didn't remember drawing them this way. I moved away from the table and the lamp's light reflected from the wet paint. The drawing was glossy. It felt like the fox was watching me, waiting.
Антон!
Anton!
Ты что, оглох?
Are you deaf?
Я задумался.
I was just thinking.
Тебя спрашиваю, ты сестру не видел?
I'll ask you again. Have you seen your sister?
Опять она где-то прячется.
She's hiding somewhere again. Something moved under my bed and I froze. Olya's dirty face peeked out with a finger pressed to her lips.
Shh.
Оля, я тебя вижу.
Olya, I can see you.
Вылезай, ты же в пыли вся.
Get out of there, you're covered in dust. Olya crawled from under the bed and started dusting off her stockings, looking down.
Пойдем, Оль.
Let's go.
Я тебе сказку почитаю.
I'll read you a fairy tale.
Посижу с тобой, пока не уснешь.
Keep you company until you fall asleep.
Я с вами спать хочу. Не в той комнате.
I want to sleep with you, not in that room.
Там...
It's...
Mom entered the room.
Что, опять сова?
What, the owl again?
А кто ж еще?
And what do you think?
Оль, она не придет больше.
Olya, it won't come anymore.
Я ее прогнал.
I chased it away. Olya shook her head in defiance.
Не прогнал.
You didn't.
Она придет.
And it will come.
Она сказала, что будет каждую ночь приходить.
It said that it'll come every night.
О, так она у тебя говорящая?
Oh, it talks now. Olya ignored the question and then asked with newfound determination.
Можно я с вами посплю?
Can I sleep with you?
Можно?
Please?
В самый последний раз.
This will be the last time.
Ты же говорила, что последний раз был вчера.
Didn't you say yesterday was the last time?
Ольга, ты уже большая девочка.
Olga, you're a big girl now.
А пусть у меня ложится.
Why don't you let her sleep in my room? I thought it was a great idea, but Olya shook her head again.
Нет, у тебя не хочу. Она и на тебя смотрит.
No, I don't want your room. It watches you too.
I felt goosebumps all over my body.
Хватит.
Enough.
Нет никакой совы.
There's no owl.
Ты сегодня спишь у себя, ясно?
You're sleeping in your own room tonight. Got it?
Ну, пожалуйста, мам!
Mom, please.
Пожалуйста!
Please.
Mom took Olya's hand and tried to lead her out of the room.
Пойдем, милая. Не мешай брату.
Let's go, sweetie. Don't bother your brother.
Olya clutched the bed's head with her free hand.
Пожалуйста, пожалуйста, пожалуйста!
Please, please, please.
Не хочу к ней!
I don't want to go to it.
Mom was tugging Olya towards herself, but she didn't budge. Only the bed's head squeaked in agony. Dad intervened by picking Olya up and carrying her out of the room, despite her desperate protests and pleas.
Не надо!
No.
Не надо к ней!
Don't take me to it.
Она опять смотреть будет!
It's going to watch me again.
I've listened to them struggle to make my little sister go to bed for a while.
Пожалуйста, ну не надо!
In the end, my parents gave up and let Olya sleep with them.
Мама, папа!
But it was surely the last time. Ever.
Обещаю тебе!
When everybody settled down, I was lying in my room thinking about Olya's words. It's watching you too. I felt uncomfortable. Barely managed to calm down only after closing the curtains in my room shut. But as soon as I closed my eyes, memories of my day started jumping around in front of me. I was in the middle of the stuffy school corridor. I could see the literature classroom from here, the faces of dead classical writers on their portraits, the prim and regal pose of our homeroom teacher, Lilia Pavlovna. And around that corner was her daughter, Katya, a snitch and a gossip, eagerly waiting for me.
Эй, новенький, новенький!
Hey, transfer student. Transfer student.
Чего тебе, Кать?
What do you want, Katya? She got on her tiptoes and started swaying, while hiding her hands behind her back, and then asked me with a fake smile on her face.
Скажи, пожалуйста, а чего это тебя к нам перевели?
Can I ask you something? Why did you get transferred here?
I may have told her the truth about this to Paulina, but Katya will sell it on the market for 3 kopkas. It would be the same as printing all my thoughts and hanging them near Volva's picture for everyone to see. So I reverted to an answer I knew by heart.
Это все из-за моих родителей.
It's all because of my parents.
У папы тут новая работа, а мама...
Dad has a new job here, and my mom... But Katya didn't even listen to me. She just rushed towards the perked-up ears of her friends, whispered something while stealing glances at me and giggling.
Да-да, конечно.
Yeah, right.
Он нас тут совсем за дурачков держит.
He takes us all for fools.
Я вот слыхала, что это все из-за его отца.
I've heard it's all because of his father.
Он недавно кому-то крутому дорогу перешел, и теперь они всей своей семейкой в нашем захолустье скрываются.
He crossed the road of some big shot, and now their family is hiding in a remote little village.
Неправда! Ты все врешь!
That's not true. You're lying.
А слышали? Слышали, как ему бабурин всыпал?
And did you hear? Did you hear how Baburin beat him up?
А этот лишь ручки опустил, да глазенки потупил.
And all he could do was look all pathetic and take it.
Good job, Nicole.
Oh my god.
I think we would have got our ass kicked, but we did anyway, kinda, so...
We would have.
Прекрати! Ты знаешь, он не один был!
Stop it! You know he wasn't alone!
И будто этого мало.
And if that wasn't enough,
Ходят слухи, что этот чудик повсюду таскает с собой заячью маску.
there are rumors that this weirdo carries a bunny mask with him wherever he goes.
Ой, девочки, ну кто же в своем уме будет такое делать?
Who in their right mind would do something like that? Huh, girls?
Ясно, понятно. Со странностями наш Антошка.
I see. Our Antoshka must be truly special.
Может, слабоумный, а может
Maybe he's an autist, but what if
и маньяк.
he's a serial killer?
Если в его портфеле хорошо покопаться, там и топор отыскать можно. А может, что и похуже.
I'm sure you'll be able to find an axe in his backpack if you look hard enough, or something even worse.
Да-да-да.
Yes.
Замолчи! Заткнись!
Shut up!
Вон как раскричался-то, будто ужаленный.
Look at him scream as if something bit him.
А зрачки-то, зрачки какие широкие.
His pupils, look at how wide they are.
Опять чего доброго с катушек слетит и руки распускать начнет.
I hope he won't go insane and resort to violence again.
That one doesn't make...
Не зря же его мать с таблетками пичка.
I mean, there must be a reason his mom always feeds him those pills, right?
I just stood there in confusion, trying in vain to understand how she found out about my medicine. And what scared me even more was the possibility that her nonsense had some truth mixed in.
Да-да,
Yes, that's right.
он такой же ненормальный, как и его сестрица.
He is as insane as his little sister.
Представляете, к этой сумасшедшей дурочке каждую ночь прилетает сова ростом с человека.
Can you imagine that she says a human-sized owl visits her every night?
Да-да,
Yes.
только что-то ее никто из здоровых людей не видел.
But not a single healthy person has seen it.
А этот наивный простак ей верит.
And this simpleton believes her.
Нет, ну вы представляете?
Can you imagine that?
And then I caught a single kind look from the smirking crowd.
Как же так, Антон?
How can it be, Anton?
Неужели действительно тебе не здоровится?
Are you unwell?
Полина, послушай меня!
Helena, please, listen to me.
Как же?
Yeah, right.
Не слушай этого болтуна, Полиночка.
Don't listen to this liar, Polinochka.
Это ничтожество даже постоять за себя не может.
This loser can't even stand up for himself.
А при случае и за тебя не заступит.
And he won't be able to defend you if it comes down to it.
Бросит, думая, как бы только самому по шее не схлопотать.
He'll run away to protect his own skin.
Слабак.
Weakling.
Helena slouched as if someone kicked her in the stomach and then burst out in tears and fell to the dirty floor, wailing and screaming.
No.
Антон, почему? За что?
Why, Anton? Why?
I couldn't understand her reaction, but I still rushed to Polina's side before getting shoved violently by Katya.
Убери от нее свои лапы, чудовище!
Get her paws off of her, you monster!
Rage was building up under the veil of my fear. It slowly rose from the cloudy mist. I felt my upper lip lift, creep up, showing my teeth.
То, что твой отец бьет мать, еще не дает тебе права поднимать руку на девушку.
The fact that your father beats your mother doesn't give you the right to do the same to girls.
My fists become hammers. I couldn't unclench them. Nobody could speak about my family like that. I came to my senses when I already lunged at the angry Katya.
Слетел-таки! Слетел!
Aha! He went nuts! Nuts!
Спасите! Помогите! Петров с катушек слетел!
Help! Help! Petrov went completely insane!
At the same moment, the crowd around her became louder. It started whistling and roaring and growing. The subtle silhouettes of my schoolmates became larger, wider. They shot upward towards the ceiling. I turned into a giant black forest, chock full of toothy faces. I shrank to a tiny ball of fur and started shaking in fear before the might of ulcer-ridden trunks that belonged to either trees or humans. It was impossible to tell.
Вот ты и показал свое животное нутро.
So you've finally shown your animal nature.
Трус!
Coward.
Katya's face was twisted with jubilation and ecstasy.
Anton!
Why?
Why? No! Why did you do this to me?
Alina screamed while choking on her tears.
Он!
He is just
Животное!
an animal.
Чужак!
An outsider.
A scary flapping of wings came from the forest. A pair of giant white ears descended somewhere from above, and I dug myself into them.
Anton! Anton!
Пожалуйста!
Please.
Вставай!
Wake up!
I jumped up, almost falling out of bed. Apparently, I was thrashing around for hours on the sweat-soaked sheets. Olya's scream pulled me out, set me free from the tentacles of fear.
Anton!
Пожалуйста!
Please.
Вставай! Вставай!
Wake up! Wake up!
It took my eyes a while to focus on the silhouette near the window. Olya's voice was distant. My head was still ringing after the fight. Sounds got distorted, as if my ears were stuffed with cotton. My sister, as distressed as ever, just kept on repeating the same phrase.
Сова! Сова!
The owl! The owl!
Пожалуйста!
Please.
Я боюсь!
I'm scared.
Her tears poured on my heart like boiling water, but I was almost thankful for the owl's appearance. Otherwise, the scared Olya wouldn't have woken me up.
Оля, я сейчас.
Wait a second, Olya.
Хочешь, я тебе Мурзилку почитаю?
Want me to read Merzilka for you?
Подожди.
Give me. I placed my bare heels on the floor, felt around for my glasses. I remembered Simeon, his underhand act, and sighed.
Антон!
Anton!
Пожалуйста! Пожалуйста!
Please, please.
Посмотри!
Look.
She couldn't tear her eyes away from the window as if it was a staring contest. I found a light switch with my hand. The lamp poured bright light all over me. I got up. My vision fooled me, moving the window closer only to push it further the next moment. My sister was just a blurry spot. I took a hesitant step forward.
Оль,
Olya,
что там?
what's there?
Что-то случилось?
What happened?
Ты хочешь, чтобы я открыл шторы?
You want me to open the curtains?
Нет, не надо!
No, please don't.
Там же сова!
The owl is there.
The voice was coming from behind. I turned around and froze from terror. A teary-eyed Olya stood in the doorway.
Кем?
Who?
С кем ты разговаривал, братик?
Who are you talking to right now?
She stared at me with eyes that were red from crying. With her hands wrapped around her shoulders, her voice was nervous, as if she was afraid to hear my answer.
Я разговаривал с тобой. С тем, кто притворился тобой.
I was talking to you, to someone who pretended to be you. The ledge outside my window creaked ominously as if something huge was sitting on top of it. And the thing that pretended to be Olya started spreading, changing shape, grow to scary heights under the light of a carnivorous moon. Anton! Please. Come closer. Come here. The voice didn't belong to my sister anymore. The thing that was hiding behind my curtains got tired of pretending, making me look like a fool. I pinched myself as hard as I could, hoping that the silhouette near the window was just a continuation of my nightmare, a hallucination, brought upon by the cursed house. And those don't bite, do they? The silhouette was towering before me under the veil of mist. I heard Olya's shrill scream when someone had knocked on the window.
Came to get us.
Another knock. I stepped back into the middle of the room. As if there existed nooks where I could hide from this horror. The sound was sharp, metallic. The lamp started shimmering, then it suddenly lighted the whole room and went out like a candle in the strong wind. The filament inside it snapped with a ringing sound. The darkness that was waiting for the exact moment poured up from all angles and enveloped me. There was only this window left in the whole universe. Moonlight poured through it, painting everything the color of bones that were exhumed from a crypt. Olya started squealing and pressed herself into my back, seeking protection. And then my eyes, burning with a carnivorous fire, stared at us from the window. It wasn't trying to break the window. It was toying with us. It just kept on knocking, driving us mad. As if a giant clock was measuring the time left for us, the pendulum swinging above the abyss.
Go away. Get out. Shoo.
She was screaming in desperation, her hands clutching my arms like a pair of pincers. Anton! Anton! Come closer. I could barely make out a pair of wings that spread out above the black spot.
Tell her, Anton. Tell it that I won't be a bad girl anymore. Never ever. I just want it to leave. Please.
The moonlight suddenly disappeared and the room descended into darkness. We couldn't see the burning eye anymore. I swallowed the stingy lump that was stuck in my throat. I stepped towards the curtain, entranced by the call of this disfigured guest. Olya was standing behind me, mumbling, I'll be good, I'll be good, I'll be good. The bleak window was creeping closer. Curtains rustled. I reached out to move them aside so I could look my fear in the eye. At that moment, I heard noise coming from my parents' bedroom. Without thinking, I pulled the curtain to the side in one swing. Nothing. Though, there was something shiny on the ledge among the scattered feathers. My glasses? The ones that Simeon took from me. How did they get here? Was that a gift from the gurgling night? Did that owl really bring them here? I looked at the front yard, at the foreboding clearing, at the toothy forest. Not a soul, not a trace of our late-night guest. Only the old lamppost dreaming like a lone watchman among the snowy desert. The dry window frame creaked. I tore away from the insulating tape and the stipes of glued newspaper. Opened the window with big trouble. Frost pinned me with its little needles. The paintings on my walls moved from the draft. I touched my glasses, sure they would melt in my hand, but they were real. My brain was scrambling for an explanation. Simeon and his gang just pulled a prank on me? That was it? That's it. A smooth white blanket was glittering under the street lamp just outside our yard. If anybody was to get close to the house, to climb the pipe to the ledge of my window, they would surely leave footprints, but there were none. I cautiously took my glasses. My wrist was still intact. Nobody pulled me into the darkness full of restless, writhing.
Вы почему не спите?
Why aren't you in bed?
I swayed from surprise and almost fell out of the window.
Совсем сдурели?
Are you out of your mind?
Жарко, что ли?
Did it feel hot in here?
Не болели давно?
Do you want to catch a cold?
Там сова была! Тоша ее прогнал!
The owl was here. Tosha chased it away.
А ну-ка марш спать к себе в комнату.
Go to your room immediately and get in your bed.
А с тобой?
And you.
Mom paused, directing her seething eyes at me. She was thinking of a punishment equivalent to my crime. In the end, she just waved her hand, took Oya by the shoulder, and left, throwing gloomy words my way.
Завтра поговорим.
We'll talk tomorrow.
I managed to get the frame back in place with a couple of hits, pressed in the latches with all the strength my fingers could muster. The cold left the room, but the fear was still present. I placed my glasses on my nose and started studying my reflection in the window. It didn't look like a face, more like a death mask, just like the one worn by the boy from the notice board. That night, I was on the edge of joining him there. A black and white face was staring at me through the clearing between student heads. And it wasn't Volva. His face was right beside it. I recognized the fat cheeks and the damaged skin. Simeon. Urban's photo was printed out and placed under the glasses like an exhibition piece. And that is episode dos. Let me hurry up and save. That's important. Saving is important.
Saving is important.
I just saved in 2 spots because it didn't make a sound when I clicked it, so we're double safe.
Love that.
Love that for us. All right. What did you think of episode 2?
Yay. I liked episode 2.
Episode 2 was good. There was a lot of words thrown around that we couldn't read, or I couldn't read, I guess.
I was like, yeah, listen.
I mean,
Those words were something.
kids be fucked up.
Yeah. Listen.
Listen. But I really liked it too. I can't wait to see what happens in episode 3. Skin to the forest, start fist fighting some wolves and stuff. Should be fun.
I was gonna say, I'm glad we got to see like one of the beasts and like the rabbit mask and stuff like that in this one. I like that.
Yeah, setting stuff up. But
yes,
we'll be back within the next few weeks for episode 3. But let us know what you thought of episode 2 in the comment section below. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.